Welcome to the second episode of Diaries of a Life Coach podcast. My name is Larissa Dalton, and I am your host. This podcast documents my journey of building a life coaching business, where I talk about the steps I took to create my company, build my clientele, my coaching experiences, discoveries, and transformation. I will also have many guests to help me address various issues that I come up with along the way. Thank you once again for taking the time to be here. I greatly appreciate it. So in episode 1, we talked about what it took for me to organize my business, specifically administrative tasks. I talked about organizing a company with my state of Georgia, getting tax ID number, setting up website, going through coaching certification, and finally launching my business on January 1st of 2021. Since then, my focus has shifted to marketing, sales, studying, and coaching. So there are many theories and many methods, funnels, marketing strategies, courses, how to sign up your clients. And for me, in order to be effective at any of them, I've decided to focus on just a couple. First, I've joined a couple Facebook groups. One Facebook group is Women Entrepreneurs, and every woman in that group has opportunity to showcase her business, talk about her business, promote her business, and offer her services to the remainder of the group. I've also recently signed up for a Facebook coaching group, and it's more about coaching practices, techniques, things like that, but a great way to get to know your fellow coaches. As I may have mentioned, I've created a mastermind within my coaching certification program, and I have about 6 or 7 coaches that I coach on biweekly basis, or that we coach together. We come together and share strengths and make contributions to the areas of each person's expertise. So, for example, we have somebody who is in finances. So his contribution is how to create a financial mindset, how to perhaps invest your finances, how to support your business financially, things like that. I've also joined alumni from my school, another opportunity to meet coaches and talk about issues and things that they deal with, what are some of the struggles that they experience, and being in those groups will help me find my next guests on this show so my goal with bringing guests on here is, for example, with marketing and sales, I do not have a lot of direct experience with that. So I'm going to bring a guest who can talk about sales, or a coach that can talk about sales, how to sell coaching business. I'm going to bring in a time management coach to come up here and talk about time management, what it takes, and how can a new coach enhance their time management skills. So those are the kind of guests that I'm going to be bringing on the show to help me fine-tune critical skills, as well as help my audience with advice and tips and things like that. So if you are following me on this journey, I hope that my guests inspire you and bring new knowledge and information to you. So one of my strategies is joining different Facebook groups and alumni groups, and just, seeing where there's opportunities to meet new entrepreneurs or new coaches or seasoned coaches that can help grow me as a person, as a coach, as an entrepreneur. My other strategy is Instagram. So for the last several weeks, I've been working on generating consistent content that is relevant to my coaching. So in my coaching, I focus on transformational coaching. Specifically, I focus on coaching people surrounding loss, whether it's job loss, whether it's opportunity loss, partner loss, maybe you move to a new city and you kind of, in a way, it's a loss. You've lost all of your community in your previous place. You have to reestablish yourself. You have to uh, basically re-engage into the communities. And, sometimes it can be difficult for people. So transformational coaching is what I focus on. And so on my Instagram, I've been focusing on mindset surrounding just generally, I guess, mindset. I've been talking about loss, how to overcome it. I've been providing some steps. So I feel like since I've been showing up on Instagram, I feel like it's been pretty successful. I've been accumulating followers on daily basis. So it's not a lot, I haven't gone viral or anything like that, but I think 2, 3, 4 followers a day. I feel like that's kind of been my pace. And typically you gain followers and you lose some, you gain some, you lose some, but I feel like I'm kind of progressing steadily. And I can see that directly correlating to my engagement on Instagram. So I've also been trying to feel comfortable being on Instagram and talking to people, recording my little videos, and even putting out my content. It's sometimes it can be challenging, and you question yourself, or whether this is useful for anybody. But it's lovely to get a feedback from 1 or 2 people that say, "Hey, this is really resonating with me. This is touching my life." And so those are the kind of moments that keep you going. So I hope if you are a young coach and you've started this Instagram strategy, I hope that you stay encouraged and continue to show up. And I know that it will pay off. And finally, my third sort of marketing avenue is podcast. My goal and my desire with the podcast is to connect with new and experienced coaches that could contribute to my personal growth as well as the growth of my audience. I feel like I can learn from any person because every single person, has their own uniqueness. They have unique experiences. They have unique approach, their unique way of looking at things. And so my goal is to connect with as many coaches. And specifically right now, I would love to connect with a marketing sales coach that can come up on here and talk about how to sell coaching in the most effective way. So that has kind of been my focus since launching my business and transitioning from studying, transitioning from obtaining my certification, and from setting up my company. One thing about me is that anywhere I go, my best and my favorite souvenir to bring back is a mug. I especially love finding mugs that are handmade in the region by local artists if possible. But if not, I will get an airport mug if I have to, with the name of the place. But anyways, this is a Florida mug that we got some time ago when we went into the swamps looking at crocodiles and things. So, but maybe I can showcase my mugs every time I'm on here. But so yeah, that's one thing I love is getting a mug from where I travel to. So outside of marketing, I've been doing a lot of studying. I dedicate 1 to 2 hours a day to read and to make notes for myself. Typically what I do is when I read and I find something new and compelling, something that I feel like is revolutionary to me, I typically try to use that to inspire me to make an Instagram post or write a blog post. So, for example, today I was reading a book about mindset, and there are so many steps that you basically go through based on your thoughts. So if you have negative thoughts, for example, You go, through different steps until your negative thoughts become your negative outcome. And while, it's common knowledge, I think, for people to know that our thoughts create our outcomes, I found that it was a great reminder for me, and I basically outlined the steps. And because it was a great reminder for me, I created a post on that. So that's how it typically work. But I do invest a good bit of time in learning because my goal is to be a great coach and serve people and really help them, walk with them during their transformation, be the most effective coach that I can be. So that's what I do. And finally, I coach. I have some clients that I coach from my school. I am continuing practicing coaching. I try to implement different techniques, use different tools, and having my clients from school allows me to do that because they understand what I'm doing, why I'm doing it, and I also like to reciprocate and also be coached by them. I also, since the beginning of January, I've signed on I started signing on paying clients. And with paying clients, it's a little different. I don't know how it felt to you, but to me, I felt like there's a greater level of responsibility. So before my meetings with my clients, I invest a little more time and I prepare. Since coaching is relatively new to me, I can't say that, the questions are flowing. I can't say that, I'm so intuitive that, I don't need help. So what I've been doing is before my coaching sessions, I've been kind of evaluating and almost, looking at natural progression with my clients and preparing different sets of questions so that I have meaningful and relevant questions to ask in case my client wants to talk about those subjects. I'm still working on developing my active listening, my intuition as it relates to coaching, and I know that it will take a little bit of time. So in order to have effective coaching sessions with my clients now, I have to prepare for them. And again, I do that by having different sets of questions, having different kinds of exercises that I think would flow best in the program, in the coaching program. And again, being intuitive, being sensitive to my client, allow the room for my client to talk about, what concerns them. And so far, I feel like that strategy has worked for me. And I know that some sessions I don't reference my notes. And I enjoy that very much when I don't have to reference my notes. So work in progress, but every session makes me better, makes me more confident. And I'm encouraged by aha moment, by, when the client's like, oh my gosh, I think this is what I need to do. I love those moments. And I know that, again, if you stay consistent, if you continue to develop yourself, if you're, 3-4 steps ahead of your client, that you're on a good and solid path. So when it comes to business, after January 1st, 2021, when my business officially launched, I needed to onboard a client. And when I started thinking about that, I realized that I did not have an onboarding process outlined. I had no idea what an appropriate process would look like or what kind of documents I could supply to my client. So luckily, in my coaching community, in my school, I was coaching with a seasoned coach, someone who has a practice, and um, she was so gracious to share this information with me. But if you are a coach and you're putting together your coaching package, some of the things I recommend you would include in that package would be your coaching agreement. Obviously, that would encompass your coaching duration, your rates, your cancellation policy, and then a lot of other things you can establish in your coaching session, such as the culture that you want to create with your client, how to contact you, all those things. Those could be established in your session, but you definitely want your contract to cover the time frame, the financial commitment, the duration of your coaching, cancellation policies, things like that. Another piece of information, another piece of document that I would recommend you include in your coaching package is a questionnaire about your client. And it could be questions like, what is working for you well? What are you struggling with? What are your goals, aspirations? Where do you want to be in 5 years? What can I do? What kind of coach would you like me to be for you? If things are going hard, what can we do to refocus? Or, questions like that would give you insight into your client's desires, or your client's most comfortable way of coaching with you. So a questionnaire about your client. Another piece of information that could be beneficial is maybe some kind of form with what coaching is. It's very often that people don't know the difference between, coaching and consulting and advice giving, and so elaborating to your client what coaching is could be very beneficial. I also ask my client to complete an information sheet, name, phone number, address, things like that, place of employment. And I use their address to send them an onboarding package. And this kind of came to me after the thought, but I sent my client a book. My client in our first session asked for some recommendations, the books that they can read. And so I thought, man, it would be great to just send her a book because, it's just a nice touch. And so that's what I've done. And I think it was well received. I think I'm going to work on upgrading that a little bit. I think I would like to maybe include a journal or something that I could personalize and send it to my future clients as onboarding package. So those have been my activities since our last podcast. I've very much heavily transitioned into studying, coaching, and developing my marketing strategies. Like I said, I am lacking experience in sales. So that's one area that I am looking at programs right now, and I can share with you once I enroll in the program. But I'm looking at different programs that would help me build my sales skills. Specifically, I really lack experience closing sales. I can talk about the benefits of coaching, but how converting my conversations into sales, that's where I lack. So that is going to be my focus, my personal focus. What I can say over the course of last week or week and a half is that what I found to be effective strategy for me in terms of moving my business forward was to have just, 2-3 things that I focus on. And I typically schedule those 2-3 things in my calendar, and I allow adequate amount of time for each one of them. For example, my studying, I schedule that time in my calendar every day. And sometimes I can do it for 2 hours. Sometimes I can do it for an hour. Sometimes I have to take a dog on a walk and I'll turn on my podcast or book or, something and learn on my walks. But I make sure that I dedicate time for studying, for learning. I definitely want to grow. And I feel like, if you're making a step, this is from Atomic Habit, the book, you're making a step every single day, you're growing. And then at one point it's all going to compound and everybody's going to think all of a sudden, why are you so smart? Right. So that's kind of what I'm thinking, but I've learned so much of insightful information about human minds and thoughts and habit forming in our mind frames and things like that are so fascinated with, that studying time is actually time that I truly, truly enjoy. As we approach the end of this episode, I want to encourage you to select a couple of things to focus on, right? Just select a couple strategies, because there's so many things you can do. And it's great, and you can do them later. But first, just focus on a couple of strategies and get good at them. And then add a new one as you grow, as you master your current strategy. You can add another one. So that's kind of what I would like to leave you with. Have any questions about today's episode? Just head over to my website, larissadalton.com/contact-info and send in your request, or simply email me at larissadalton10@gmail.com. You can find my podcasts wherever podcasts are found. If you would like me to cover a specific topic, also submit that request via website or my email. Connect with me on Instagram at Larissa_Dalton, or book a complimentary session with me at larissadalton.com/coaching. Thank you again for joining me today, and I hope to see you next time.